Lucas. Today, I thought I would, in general, just start making some videos here and there, mostly for people who are starting with guitar or starting to learn more about theory and things like anything you need to know for blues and rock, things like that. So I just wanted to make a little video going over the importance of knowing the pentatonic scale. And most guitar players know it, but I just kind of wanted to talk about it and go maybe a little bit more in depth on what most guitar players know about the pentatonic scales. If you don't know what the pentatonic scale is, I think mostly guitar players know that. There's a lot of musicians that they maybe know what it is, but they don't really use it much in their genre, so I can understand not knowing it. But if you don't know what it is, it's a pentatonic scale. It's a group of 5 notes that have a really, really cool sound to them. That's probably the most basic way I can put it. And everyone's heard it before. You just may not recognize it. But for instance, if I'm going to play an A minor pentatonic, it sounds like this. So that was a 2-octave example right there. But that may sound familiar to a lot of people. There's also a major pentatonic, and a lot of people don't know this, but I'm surprised how many guitar players don't know it. But it's literally the same notes, but you're just playing it starting from the 2nd note in the pentatonic scale, and it sounds like this. So it's really, really interesting what you can do with that. Obviously, when people think pentatonic, they think rock or blues, and that is where it is used most. But a lot of people don't know this, and I didn't even know this until a couple years ago. But something really cool about the pentatonic scale is people like to think it's kind of like this dirty sounding scale where it doesn't really fit into theory and it doesn't really make sense. It just sounds cool. But actually, and I didn't know this for the longest time, but if you look like on a piano, right? If you look at all the white keys on a piano, that makes C major, pretty well known. But if you look at the black keys, if you consider the accidentals, which are like all the sharps and flats, if you look at the black keys, there's 5 black keys, and I didn't even realize this for the longest time, as much of a theory buff as I was. But if you actually play the black keys on the piano, you're playing the pentatonic scale. And I was like, when I learned that, I was like, whoa, mind blown. That's so cool that I thought it was just something someone came up with, and it sounded cool all on its own, and but it actually is a big part of the structure of music. The pentatonic scale is right there. But anyway, I want to get more in depth. I won't talk about the pentatonic scale forever. But if you don't know the pentatonic scale already, or maybe you do, you just want to know some different ways to play it, the first thing I would recommend is learning the minor pentatonic and learning the fingering for it, meaning just what position to play it in on the guitar and kind of how you want to do it. So what really works for me is, and this is I'm going to try to get in the shot here, but this is just the basic structure for minor pentatonic. But you start your first finger on whatever area on the guitar you want to start with. I'm starting at the 5th fret right here. And the pattern is you play that note first, that's your root. And so whatever note this is, that's the root of your pentatonic scale. So this is an A. For the minor, you're going to go up to here. And it's kind of hard to see, I guess, but you're going to go to this note here, which is 1, 2, 3 frets above it on the same string. And I'm starting this all on my 6th string, if it's kind of hard to tell. So that's the 2nd note. This is the minor 3rd. So that's the root, minor 3rd. Then you go down a string right from there, and I'm keeping everything right here, the 1st finger, all along the 5th fret. That's what makes it so easy. This is the most popular fingering. So again, right here. So you play that right there, and then you go down here. You go down a string, still on the 5th fret. This is the 4th in relation to your root, and then you go up here. Now, I'd like to use my 3rd finger to play that. And this is just 1, 2 frets up from that. So again. And then this pattern, this kind of 1st finger, 3rd finger pattern, exactly the same thing, the next string down. So complete it sounds like this. And this note right here that I'm ending on the 4th string, 7th fret, this is also an A. So they're both the A's right there. So that's kind of the first form. Now, once you get here, you've gone up an octave from where you started. So from there, what I do is you go down a string again from there, and it's the exact same pattern, 1, 3, So again, and then the next string is, and then the bottom two strings are the same fingering we had at the top, where it's the first finger and then the fourth finger, and this is 1, 2, 3 frets up from right there in our fifth fret. So on the second string it's this pattern, and then on the bottom string it's the same pattern. So all together. But right here, obviously right here on the high E string on the fifth fret, that's our A right there. So if we wanted to play it root from root, we would stop there on the first finger on this string right here. We wouldn't play this, but this is a, this is an extra note you can add in. So that's the minor pentatonic scale. What's great about that fingering is you can take this, and like I said, I'm starting everything on the first finger. You can take this and start it anywhere. I'm going to start it here instead, right? On A flat, right? And basically what I played right there was an A flat minor pentatonic. And again, you can, like, here's the A, right? You can move it up to here, and I'm playing a B minor pentatonic. So, and same thing. So that fingering is really useful because you can move that anywhere. And if you want to double check this, go online. I mean, you can look up the pentatonic fingering charts anywhere. That one is, in my mind, the most useful. Obviously, it's just the one everyone uses. Now, secondly, what I want to show you guys is the major pentatonic. And all the major pentatonic is it's that exact fingering, but you're going to start it from the second note in the scale and play it to the second note of the scale. So basically, in this same fingering without changing it, it would sound something like this. If I'm playing in A minor. You know, much happier sounding. It sounds super, super bright. Sounds really pretty. And that's the major pentatonic scale. What's so cool about the blues is if you know the minor and major pentatonic scale, there's a lot of situations, depending on the chords, of course, there's a lot of situations where you can play either one and it sounds awesome. So it really depends. Now, the great thing about playing this way is I was playing the same notes, so I just played them in different order. So, I mean, this will work over any blues progression that the minor one will work in. Major will still work over it if you're playing it this way, where you're playing the same notes. And this is called the relative major. There's a parallel major. That's a totally different thing. That's a little bit more complicated. I won't go into that because this could be like a 30-minute video if I wanted it to. But I just wanted to show you guys that. Now, the cool thing is, and this is where I really think this sets apart good guitar players from great guitar players. A lot of people will say it doesn't matter what the fingering is, it's going to sound the same. You know, that's pretty true. That's pretty true for the most part. But what I found is, depending on where your hands are, you're going to be more likely to play certain things if they're more comfortable for you, and you're going to play them differently depending on how you're holding the guitar. So, you know, playing in different places on the guitar, even if you're playing the same thing just in different keys, right? Or even if you're playing the same thing, it's going to sound different because of the way you're holding the guitar. It's very, you know, for a lot of people it's very slight. You may not be able to tell the difference, but I can't, you know, stress enough how actually knowing different fingerings really makes your playing sound different, just naturally. So instead of playing the major pentatonic like this, and the minor pentatonic fingering just starting from the second note like this, I know the major pentatonic fingering, and I'll show it to you in a second, but it really brings out so much more color, and it sounds like this. It's the same notes, but it's a different fingering, and it really brings out more of it. So I want to show it to you right here, because it's not really that much harder than the minor. So over here, I was starting on the 5th fret right here, okay, in the minor pentatonic, for A minor pentatonic. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slide up to this note here, which is where my pinky used to be, and I'm actually going to start here, and I'm going to see the whole thing as starting on this fret. Now, this one's a little bit more complicated. It's can be hard to remember. It really helps to write this down. But with the major, what I'm doing is I'm gonna start with my second finger on this, and then everything starting from the 8th fret on the C, okay, on the 6th string. So with this pattern, it goes 2, which is when I say 2, I mean my second finger. When I say 3, I mean my third finger. 4, this finger. 1, this finger. Okay. So I start with 2 and go 2, 4. So this is 1, 2 frets up from where I'm starting, right here. And then this is the part where it can kind of get confusing on a video. But basically, again, I'm starting here on the 8th fret. I'm going to go play on the 7th fret on the 5th string. So next, and then this one I go 1, 2, 3 frets up. Okay, and then I do the same pattern on the next string. So it goes. Okay, and then after this, I go to the next string, and I'm starting on the 7th fret right here again, just like I was for the past 2 strings, and I'm going to go 1, 3. Okay, now this is where it gets kind of tricky to play for some people. So after this, you go back to the 8th fret here on the 2nd string. So this is the 8th fret, and you do another 2, 4 on the 2nd string, and then it's this exact same pattern on the 1st string. So altogether, it sounds like this. So if you're going to start blues, I really recommend learning those 2 fingerings. Now there are 5, because I mean, if you're following ahead of me, if you're a step ahead of me here, you'll figure out that there's a different fingering for each note in the pentatonic scale. So there are 5 fingerings, and what these are called modal fingerings. So with these, it's basically just learning the different modal fingerings from starting from each note in the pentatonic scale, and they really do bring so much more color to your playing. There's a lot of times where I'll be hearing, when I do my improv and stuff like that, I'll be hearing a very traditional blues, chord progression. Just some like any combination of 1, 4, 5s or a 12-bar blues, and that was an E, for example. So I'll be hearing that, and instead of playing E minor pentatonic, instead of doing something like that, that's the most common thing people would play over a E minor blues progression or an E blues progression. I might go and play a different mode, and like for instance, I'm going to play the 5th mode, which is not it's not really major or minor. It's just kind of its own thing. And again, these are exactly the same notes that would be in E minor pentatonic, but I'm just going to play it differently. So like instead, I might play something like. So you could play something like that, and I mean that may have sounded kind of random, but that will work over the traditional blues chords. So look this up, look online. You're going to have a hard time finding the modal fingerings. They're not super popular. The major and minor are very well known. But the important thing to remember is that the major and minor pentatonic blues, there are the same thing, as you're just playing it in a different order. So I encourage you to look that up. I encourage you to look into the pentatonic scale. And when I'm saying things like a 5th or a 4th or a minor 3rd or major 3rd, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Maybe I'll do a video on all that stuff later, but definitely look it up, because it is extremely important. It will make your playing so much better. And you know what? There are a lot of great musicians who don't know a drop of theory, but even though they may not know it in their heads, when they play, they can hear it, and they know what they're doing by what they hear, and they're able to adjust it. But if you know what you're doing, it's so much easier, one, to write music. I can't recommend more learning how to improvise, because that really will help your composing skills. It'll help you, even if you're not an amazing player, it'll help you write songs like in a couple minutes sometimes if you're good enough and you practiced enough. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe this video. Like the video, subscribe to our channel. I can't tell you how much it means to me and the band. So please stay tuned. I'm going to be releasing releasing more videos and tutorials on this kind of stuff. And if you have any questions about anything related to music theory or blues, let me know. I've done a lot of research and a lot of studying into music theory, and I mean, at this point I could have a degree in music for as much time as I've spent on music theory. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below, and please stay tuned for more videos. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.